Welcome to Hot Flashes and Menopause Monologues. I'm Helen Quigley, and this is a podcast made from inspiration and perspiration. Each episode features 2 monologues about menopause, and I ask the writer and my friend Helena Jevons about the story behind them. In We've Got Biscuits, shop manager Bethan is queen of her domain. Well, she was. Suddenly nothing's where it's supposed to be, everything is annoying, and why is it always so hot in here? First, a professional freediver discovers the sport she loves is slipping through her fingers, as her older body refuses to comply with the demands she places on it. Now this one, I wondered if it came about as a result of because you mentioned it in a previous episode, about swimming from Eastbourne Beach. I wondered if that was part of it, whether you were a water baby in particular. And this is free dive.
I'm such a water baby. If I could be in water all the time, particularly tropical water, but any water really, as long as it's not, that's not even true. Even if it is absolutely freezing, I've got a broken hot tub on my patio that I now use for cold water immersion. Honestly, I would, if I sometimes think about The Little Mermaid and I'm like, where's Ursula to come and take my tongue out and let me live in water all the time? I just would absolutely love to live in water all the time.
Have you got one of those mermaid tails? Do you want one of those mermaid tails?
I might have one. Seriously? Possibly.
So free dive, I envisaged it having sort of underwater background noise. That scent, you hear that kind of burbling, low-level, ambient, bubbly noise. Not that she's doing the monologue underwater, but more as just a backdrop to the calmness of being under the sea. Was it that calmness you were writing about, or was it just...
There is something about a feeling of peace and weightlessness and oneness with things that you get when you're being held by water and surrounded by water. And the only other thing I think might be like it is like if you were on a spacewalk or something and you're sort of in that weightless environment, because it does sort of make you feel, we haven't got a space person one, have we?
No.
Woman in space.
Yeah.
Put that on the list. I don't know, for me, there is a piece like nothing else of being underwater.
But in the monologue, because she's a sportswoman, she's talking about her losing the ability to effectively do, 1, what she loves, and 2, compete.
So yeah, it's interesting. And there's a wonderful film about free driving called The Big Blue, which is about that quest for how far you can go, how far you can push your body. And I saw that when I was in my teens, but it's really stayed with me as an allegory for what extremes are you prepared to go to that you might risk your life for to discover something new. She's talking effectively about her lung capacity changing as a result of menopause, because breathlessness for no reason out of nowhere is also a menopausal symptom that's maybe a less known symptom. So I was trying to kind of put that symptom into an environment that I just loved writing about, because I love that environment. I've never done that sport competitively. I was thinking, well, what are the sports that would really affect? What are the pursuits that would really affect as a symptom? And freediving came to mind because of that.
They tell you the water will always welcome you back, that it is eternal, unchanging. But that's a lie, isn't it? The sea changes every day. The tides shift, the currents turn, and the water that cradles you one moment can push you away the next. I've always felt most myself beneath the surface, where the noise of the world falls silent, and there's only the rhythm of my breath, or the absence of it. Down there, in the blue, there is no time. There is no gravity. Just the pull of the deep and the thrum of life in every direction. But now my body has started to betray me. Or perhaps I am betraying it. I don't know anymore. My breath, once steady and endless, now falters. My chest tightens before I've even begun the descent. I used to dive effortlessly, slipping into the water as though I belonged to it. But these days, it feels like I have to argue with my own body just to get it to follow. There's heat, unbearable, creeping heat that strikes out of nowhere. On land I can find shade, a breeze, something to cool the fire, but in the water there is no escape. It is as if the ocean itself has turned against me, heating my core until I feel like I'm boiling from the inside out. I forget things now. The small things that used to feel instinctive. Checking my gear, remembering the weight of the dive rope, the precise moment to equalize, now seem to slip through my fingers like sand. I know what they'd say if they knew. The other divers. The men who think the sea belongs to them. They'd pat me on the shoulder, offer some condescending platitude about aging. They'd say, "It happens to everyone eventually, Lena." As if that makes it easier. As if the knowledge that time comes for us all is supposed to comfort me as I watch the life I've built start to unravel. The truth is, I don't want comfort. I want the sea to feel like home again. I want to dive without this constant undercurrent of doubt. I want to trust my body the way I once did. But perhaps trust is the wrong word. The sea has never asked me to trust it. It has always been unpredictable, wild and vast. Perhaps what I'm learning is that my body, like the water, is not something to control, but something to navigate. There are moments, fleeting, but they're there, when I think I understand. Like last week, when I was diving off the coast at sunrise. The light was golden, spilling across the waves, and for a moment, everything felt still. I dived, and the heat, the doubts, the frustrations, they all fell away. I don't know how deep I went. It wasn't a record-breaking dive, but it didn't need to be. I just kept going, letting the water fold over me. And as I hung there in the blue, suspended between the surface and the depths, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Maybe that's the answer. Adapt to it. To find a new way of moving through the water, a new rhythm to my breath. The sea has always changed, and I have always tuned to its moods. Why should this be any different? But it's hard. Harder than I'd like to admit. There are days when I sit on the shore, staring out at the waves, and I wonder if I've already had my last great dive. If this is it. And yet, the sea still calls to me. Even now I can hear it. The gentle hiss of the tide. The endless heartbeat of the waves. It's a sound that says, "Come back." And I will. Not today, perhaps, but soon. Because even if the sea has changed, and even if I have changed, there's still something waiting for me down there. Something I cannot name, but cannot bear to lose. So, I'll keep diving. Even if it's slower. Even if it's harder. Because the sea doesn't need me to be perfect. It only asks that I keep coming back. And I will. Always.
We've Got Biscuits, which you had originally written as a Victoria Wood-style monologue, and therefore Lancashire accent. It also works in Welsh.
And I love that because I am half Welsh. And my grandfather on my mum's side ran a corner shop that was basically biscuits
amazing.
and sweets, right?
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, it's a tiny village called Tumble, home of Barry John, for anybody who's into
Called
the
Tumble?
rugby.
Why?
Tumble.
There's a sitcom there.
Is it?
Well, there should be.
So very small Welsh mining village. You know, I've done quite a lot of my, is it genealogy? Is that how you say it? I think you say it.
Yeah,
Genealogy?
genealogy.
Genealogy. And, you know, I've gone back through my ancestors and you can sort of see in the family tree when it moves from them all being farmers to them all being miners. It's like it happens in a generation. Really interesting.
Wow.
And my grandfather and his brother, my grandfather ran the shop where he also fenced the poached salmon and took pawned gold charms and things if people didn't have money for their papers and their sweets and their things. And his brother ran the betting shop, and the betting shop was situated right at the gates to the colliery.
Oh.
So as people came
As
out
people
with
got their
paychecks,
wages, they paid them
they
straight
could
into
go
the betting
straight
shop.
to the
Yes.
betting shop.
Convenience.
Very clever, very
Yes.
entrepreneurial
Yeah,
by
very.
that side of my family. So I love the fact that this has ended up being voiced in Welsh, because that is...
Well, Welsh accent. Could potentially get it translated into Welsh. I know people.
I don't ever remember being in that shop, although I was in that shop when I was very, very tiny, and there's pictures of me on the stairs of Railway Terrace when I was tiny. But, you know, that was where my mum grew up, serving behind the counter in this shop. This lady is just very no-nonsense, very like, no, we've got Jaffa cakes and we've got white bread and we've got some butter.
Yeah, so here is, who knows, I'm not sure whether this is going first or second. So Julie Ann Dean recorded We've Got Biscuits, and thank you for being 50% Welsh.
Right, love, come on in. But don't expect miracles. We got milk, bread, and an assortment of biscuits that will last fashionable during the Queen's Silver Jubilee. Oh, and there's a special on baked beans. If you like the ones where the sauce is so thin, you need a colander. Other than that, you are out of luck. I used to keep this place ship. Labels facing forward, shelves fully stocked. Mrs. Proctor once said, "You were sharp, so neat, Bethan, you could eat your dinner off the counter." And I said you could, but it'd taste of boiled sweets and despair. She didn't laugh. I don't think she gets the irony. But now, honestly, I can't keep up. 1 minute, I'm fine. I'm stacking tins of Spam, whistling along to Radio 2. The next, I'm on the floor next to the cornflakes crying because someone's moved the digestive biscuits to the wrong shelf. It's the hormones, you see. They've turned me into a human lava lamp, bubbling over 1 minute, completely still the next. And no one knows what's going on. Take yesterday, for example. Mrs. Jenkins comes in, bold as brass, and asks if I got any fresh coriander. Coriander in a village shop. I said, "This isn't Waitrose, Sue. The fanciest thing we've got is a tin of mandarins, and they've been there since before decimalisation." Well, she looked at me like I'd insulted her grandchildren, and normally I'd have laughed it off, but no, not yesterday. Yesterday, I felt my face go all hot, my throat tighten, and before I knew it, I was shouting, "Do I look like a woman who stocks coriander, Sue? Do I? Because if I do, I am clearly failing as a shopkeeper." And poor Sue, she just stood there, clutching a bag of Revels like I might throw them at her. In the end, she shuffled out, muttering something about going to the garden centre cafe, which, to be honest, is probably for the best. I can't deal with her passive-aggressive comments about the price of my tea bags right now. And, it's not just the customers either. Oh, no, it's the heat. This shop's always been warm. You try running a till next to a radiator that's been on full blast since 1993. But now it's unbearable. I've got a fan set up in the corner and I spend half the day standing in front of it like a penguin in a heat wave. The other day, I caught Mr. Taylor staring at me through the window. I think he thought I was having some sort of episode. I wanted to shout, "Nothing to see here, Derek, just a woman slowly cooking from the inside out." And my head is all over the place. Last week, I tried to restock the bread and ended up putting 3 loaves in the freezer and a frozen lasagna on the bakery shelf. Mr. O'Reilly picked it up and said, "This a new kind of artisan bread, Bethan?" I told him it was a trial run. He believed me. Honestly, sometimes I think this village deserves what it gets. But the worst, the absolute worst, is the mood swings. I mean, I've never been what you'd call a ray of sunshine. But these days, I'm like a character from one of those gritty Swedish dramas. You know, the ones with the woolly jumpers where everyone's miserable and it's always raining. You know. The other night, my husband, Owen, says, "Fancy watching a film?" And I burst into tears because he didn't specify which film. "I can't cope with all these decisions, Owen," I sobbed. "I've spent all day choosing between rich tea and hobnobs for the display, and now you want me to pick a film? I'm not a robot, Owen!" And bless him, he just sat there holding the remote like it was a grenade about to go off. And in the end, we watched The Great British Bake Off. I cried through that too. But that was because someone had chucked their baked Alaska in the bin. Still, it is not all doom and gloom. The hot flushes mean I've saved a fortune on heating bills, and the mood swings have their uses. No one dared complain about the price of Freddo bars since I shouted at Mr. Parker for buying the last packet of custard creams. "You know I like those, Colin," I said. "I don't think I didn't notice you hiding them behind the bourbons." Honestly, I don't know how I am still standing between the customers, the chaos, and the hormones. It's a miracle I haven't locked the door, put up a sign saying "Gone fishing" and buggered off to Rill. But I won't. I mean, this shop, chaotic, overheated, and filled with expired tinned goods though it may be, is my little kingdom. And as long as I'm here, it'll keep running. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not calmly, but it'll keep going. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll look back on all this and laugh. But for now, I'll keep the fan on, the biscuits in order, mostly, and my patience, well, I'll keep as much of it as I've got left. Right, love, are you having those beans or what? Only the coup's building up and I don't have the energy to deal with another Sue Jenkins today.
In this episode of Hot Flashes and Menopause Monologues, Free Dive was performed by Amy Roxon, and We've Got Biscuits was performed by Julianne Dean. For more about events and the podcast, visit hotflashes.info, where you can also buy the actual book of the Menopause Monologues by Helena Jevons. If you are enjoying your Hot Flashes, don't forget to like, follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe even leave us a review. It all helps spread the word. Hot Flashes is produced by me, Helen Quigley, and is a Soundliness production.